So that means we are off. The video seems to be working, the audio seems to be working. I'm here for once. It has been a while since I did any serious live stream. It has been 4 weeks of vacation for me down at my home island where I grew up. Now I'm back in Stockholm. Today a rainy one, although we do have had a beautiful weather all week long, so I'm not complaining. Who cares about weather? Only Swedes do, and I'm in Sweden, so live with it. Anyways, this video right now is gonna concern this week's challenge, which has been rejection therapy. Cold calling has been the thing. That's the first part of this video, and then we're gonna move on to some weekly live evaluation, where you and me sit down on our own and look back at the week, see what happens, what actions have we taken. It's not gonna go on too long today. I still have a work day today, so we'll try to make this as efficient as possible. But as for now, the evaluation of the week. What have we been doing? As I said, rejection therapy, cold calling. What is that? Well, it's all about putting yourself in a situation where you have designed a question, an action, or some kind of request, and you put that out to the world. You expose yourself to rejection. You ask people a weird question or whatever, so you actually have a high likelihood of getting that rejection. Why the heck do we do that? Well, because it's a statement, it's an action. That means that we put ourselves in the situation of getting used to taking this no thrown in our face. We get used to this awkward feeling of not people liking us. Even though that's not the case, that's kind of how we usually interpret things. We always take it personal. Oh, he said no, it must mean I'm a bad person. Not the case at all. But by doing this repetitively, we realize that, yeah, I did survive what I just did. I can do this again. It becomes a pattern within you if you do it over and over again, and you realize I feel so good by doing this, because not only does it entail these feelings of getting rejected. For me, at least, the hardest part is to actually initiate the action, pushing that dial button, approaching that girl and telling her she's cute. That the build up before you actually do it, that's 10 times, 100 times worse than the actual action of doing these challenges. That's my view. I mean, we're all different, but as I've been doing this has been the 13th week of rejection therapy, and as I've been doing this, it just becomes easier and easier. However, this week we have shifted focus. I've been all in on girls lately, approaching them, talking to them, and that has been fun. But I started to lack a little bit of motivation there. The videos didn't give me the same drive anymore. I wanted to shift it back to a little bit of my other, core values in my life. We have different areas, relationships, girls, that's one thing, but we have to develop in all areas. And now I really felt eager, I feel hungry to aim the focus on the career again. And this is this is a prioritization you have to make. You have to sit down and focus in on one thing. Well, you don't have to, you can divide it. But for me, I really like that intensified focus. And right now, I feel I need to invest that time in my career, because I'm not going to make this about me. Well, I am, but I'm not going to make it too much about me. Let's talk about the week. So the objective was to call objectives, plural. I have to work on my grammar. The objectives were to call 5 people, one each day, that could help me in some way to develop a business idea, because I'm going to try to apply for a business competition. Now, just to be clear, I don't really have a good, clear business idea yet, but it's about getting started. I want to be an entrepreneur. That means I need to put myself in a situation where I actually take some action to move me towards that direction, and starting to make calls to people that could just share some thoughts with me for how I could think about it, how I can start going about creating something that I would really love doing. That was the objectives, and that is not really what I've been doing. To be frank, I've tried to do that. I sat down to find these people that could help me out, reaching out to them. But as the week progressed, I realized that, hey, this was harder than I thought to actually get in contact with people. Still, that was the minor side of this, because it didn't mean that I didn't get anything out of this week, because in the sense of rejection therapy, I truly got some nice experiences here. So yeah, that was what we set out to do. Call 5 people, 1 each day, and either get rejected or boost your self-esteem, because I just realized I missed the second part of why we're doing these rejection therapies. Yeah, it is the first week of live streaming. I am a bit unstructured. You just have to live with it. But the second thing for why we're doing rejection therapy is because it boosts our self, as long as you do something that aligns with your values, beliefs, and goals. And that is why I've chosen this therapy challenges that align with to go and call these people that can help. I'm boosting myself because I'm taking action that leads me in the path I want to go, and that has tremendous power to the end of building self-esteem. It really, really has. Because in that sense, this week has been incredible. I've opened up this box, Pandora's box, of reaching out to people, something I've found to be so scary. I've always, and I think I'm not alone in this, but I've always been so focused on doing things on my own. Like, yeah, I can do everything on my own. I don't need any help from anyone else. But I think that is just something I say to myself as a protection, as a way of staying comfortable, not having to reach out to people. Because that truly is scary. It's asking for help. That is scary as heck. So instead of facing that reality, it's easier to say, well, I don't need any help. I can do it on my own. So that is what I've been doing. Yeah, that's my little brother. Where was I? So yeah, I've opened up this box, reaching out to people, and that has been mind-blowing. I've realized that I can do this. It's scary as heck. I mean, in comparison to talking to girls, I'd say this has been way worse to me. And of course, that's individual. Who are you? Who am I? What means the most to me? My career, that's something that is, well, it's my life. It has a higher prioritization than girls. Hence, I'm more invested in these goals. Hence, the actions I take, they also affect me more. And that means that the outcome of it affects me emotionally on a higher level. And that resulted in this being scary as heck. And the first calls, the Monday, Tuesday, making those dials, boy, really tear me apart. It was really fun to call people. I didn't get hold of the people I wanted to, but the action of just dialing, finding people I wanted to call, thinking about what I wanted to ask them, been so fun, tremendously fun, and actually got a little bit starstruck because yesterday, the last challenge, I tried to reach out to this guy, David J. Phillips. I called him 3 or 4 times, but he didn't pick up. It went to voicemail. So in order to compensate for not being able to reach out to him, I said, okay, now I'm going to invest 50 minutes, and all I'm going to do is write emails to people I would like to reach out to, people I haven't been able to find any contact information to. So I invested 15 minutes in only doing that, and that action kind of really was equal to talking to this guy David, which I wasn't able to, because those emails, it put another action in, it put another thing in action. It made me open up the door to email people, and not only is that good, but it also relates a little bit to this challenge that if we're not able to do what we have set out to do, if I put out an action, call people, and all of a sudden, due to some factors, I'm not able to do that, that means I can adjust what can I do instead, but will still take me towards that goal. So I found an alternative route. I reached out, I emailed people, and I actually got a reply like 15 minutes later from one of my big role models, biggest famous Swedish guy, and that got me a bit starstruck. But that also made me realize that, yeah, this is just people, they do reply. And by just taking the time to write an email for 15 minutes and sending that to him, I actually got some kind of contact with this person. If I do this like 100 times, imagine what that could lead to. It could actually lead to some great connections further ahead. It can open up some doors, and that's the main conclusion of this whole week. Sure, I've gained some ability to handle rejection. I've boosted my self-esteem as heck, but above all, the most important outcome of this week is that I now look at my possibilities with new glasses. I see new routes. I realize that I can and I will reach out to people in order to help myself, and I don't have to be alone in this. I can actually make the route towards where I want to go more efficient, and enjoying it by doing so, because this has been a really fun challenge. It truly has. And if you haven't tried it, I really recommend you to do so. I mean, I can go on talking about this week on so many levels. It also contains a whole lot of social skills. I mean, you do have to develop some kind of baseline to actually connect with people, creating rapport. There are different strategies for how to reach out to people, calling late or early in the morning to go through the gatekeepers, sending the right kind of emails, hitting the right points when you're talking to people, but also when you're emailing, building that connection. I mean, a person has to have a reason for talking to you. You can't just ask for things. You have to give in return. It has to be a mutual exchange of some kind, and that is something you learn and realize when you try to learn these social skills. I think the best book, if you want to introduce yourself to this, is how to connect with, how to reach, how can I forget this awesome book, how to win friends and influence people by Dave Carnegie. Awesome book. I've read it like 5-6 times, and every time you pick up on something. But the whole idea is that you need to constantly work on your social skills. It's the number one thing that will move you forward. I can't say that and know that's the truth, but it's just super important with social skills. You need that in life if you want to go where you want to go. At least that's my experience, but hey, what do I know? This is like running a marathon. I realize I'm not used to these live streams. I get so excited, and all these thoughts pops up, and I want to say too much in too little time, and yeah, I can feel that I'm being way too unstructured. I actually outlined a whole lot of things in order that I was supposed to say, but when I get into this, when I get into the mood, when the when the flow just keeps coming, I can't contain myself. But that also means that I do enjoy the heck out of this, and I hope that I can transmit some of that to you. Yeah, what I'm trying to say here is that I'm trying to round this off. This is what I had to say, what the most important thing have been from this week. I am gonna just briefly mention a comment I got from this guy Armando in yesterday's video, I think it was. He asked me how I'm not able to become bitter when I take these rejections constantly. Why don't I just quit? How can I keep that mood up? And I answered him this, and I'm going to revise that answer also a little bit now, but I tried to I answered by relating to 2 points. Firstly, the third pillar of how to build self-esteem from the book The Six Pillars of Self-Esteem, taking responsibility for all your actions. That is how I look at my life, at least for the last 6 months. I see my actions, I see the outcome of my actions as my own fault. If I'm calling a person, like Tuesday, I called this guy Shell, or actually I called his wife because she was the gatekeeper to get to Shell, and she said I wasn't able to talk to him because he was so busy. He charged around $150 to do 1 hour of consulting. So in that sense, I failed there. But if I were able to create a deeper connection with her, if I was able to build rapport, if I was able to storytell my way into her heart, not in a deceiving way, just by putting myself out there in a better way, making her empathize with me, making us connect on a deeper level, I for sure would have been able to, at least that's my conviction, that I would have been able to get that talk with her husband for free. Now, since I didn't do that, I look back at that happening, that event, that action, and say to myself, okay, how can I improve till next time? What is it here that actually are hindering me from reaching my outcome? And again, in this case, it goes back to social skills and connecting with people and knowing the strategy and structure for how to get what you want. There are a whole lot of different books and videos on this that I've been going through. I kind of know the theory. I just don't have the skill, the fingertip feeling of applying that. So I can't be bitter from that situation because it's my own fault. I can continue to work on those skills, and that happening when I call her, that's a reminder for me to keep working on these skills. And I see that as a gain for me. That was a growth event that I had to go through to level up, or maybe at least that was the reminder, the alarm clock for me to put in the work to level up. I mean, I can't do this with everything in life. I have to prioritize. If I want to invest 3 more hours to develop my social skills, that means I have an alternative cost. I'm taking that time from something else. But that's something that means a whole lot for me, so I'm willing to make that prioritization. And that came as a result of that outcome. And the prioritization comes from a result of my goals I've outlined. And you see, that's just what I tried to tell Armando, that since I'm responsible for everything that happens, I can't be bitter for anything because it's my own. I owe it to myself to make the results happen. And if the outcome are truly external, then I realized that was something that I couldn't have anticipated. That was something I couldn't have impacted in any way. So that means I can't feel bad for it. That's an important realization, to not blame yourself for things that are truly out of your control. And that is not something that is happening often. It's like, earthquake things, that's out of your control. But I do have a way of approaching those situations as well. If something like that happens, if a train breaks down, if there's an earthquake. That doesn't happen in Sweden, but if a moment occurs in life where something bad has happened, I make sure to just think up of a way of how this moment could be exchanged to a better thing. I sit down and I think, okay, 30 minutes of my life just disappeared due to this. How can I think up of something that would actually be worth it? And then I think of some action, maybe calling a person or something like that, that would actually be a good trade-off of this 30 minutes that disappeared. And then I do that, and then I feel like, yeah, I just traded that for that. So it means that that half an hour that disappeared didn't really disappear because it led to this action that I took, and that action was just freaking amazing. That's how I look at things. But the other thing that I told Armando when I answered this question was that never get too invested. That puts you in a state of being too needy. Like if I see a girl that's cute and I approach her and she rejects me, I'm not bitter also because I don't have to have that girl. It doesn't end the world for me if I'm not able to flirt with this girl in a way that makes her like me. Also, if I'm applying for a job and I don't get that position, I'm not bitter because I don't have to get that job, because I always have the other possibilities of getting other jobs or creating my own business. So just by being so secure in myself, and whatever happens in life, I always have myself, and I love myself deeply, and that is like basically all I need. If I lose anything, so what? Still got myself. And that is a view I have in life, and that is how I explain to Armando that that's also how I not become bitter. I don't become too emotional invested in things, because that makes me needy, and that puts me in a state of not acting for my true self. It acts like I'm acting like I have something to lose, and that puts me in a state of being more nervous, or not being able to put my true self out there. But what I wanted to add after one night of thinking of this, because I replied him last night, is that sometimes you do need to be a bit emotional invested. Sometimes it is okay to just dare to want something truly. I mean, that's a whole lot of what being vulnerable is so much about. And being vulnerable is a key thing that you need to what do you say? You need to dare to be vulnerable. That's how you truly are able to connect with people. You share yourself, you dare to love first. If we were talking about relationships, you can't start by demanding people to love you. You have to start with loving them first, and then they will return the favor. That goes for the world too. You have to start to love the world, and the world will love you back. And that makes you vulnerable. That puts you in a state of actually being exposed for a knife in your heart. But the thing is, the risk is worth it. But you see how these two things kind of clashes together. On one hand, I'm saying that, yeah, never be invested, never feel like you have nothing to lose. And then I've got this side of vulnerability and say that, yeah, dare to share yourself and expose yourself. And I have to say, I'm actually not clear on how this resolves, because I have always thought about these in separate windows before, but since I tried to answer this question yesterday, I realized that, yeah, they kind of come together. And I think you have to reach some kind of midpoint here. You will not be able to. Yeah, it's just somewhere in between. I still won't feel that I have to have this girl. I still am gonna feel that, yeah, if she don't like me, she don't like me. I still have myself, and I'm gonna love myself, and whatever happens, It's gonna be awesome. But you have to be able to still risk being vulnerable, because that adds so much to life. That brings those beautiful connections. And I just can't give you any clear answer on this right now. It's something you have to experience and dwell upon yourself. But putting this question out there, it means I'm gonna search for an answer and I'm gonna get some more clarity. And I just wanted to share that reflection with you. I hope it didn't mess you up too much, even though it did mess me up a little bit. Boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy. With those words, I'm actually gonna stop sweating, because I just came from a workout, and doing this did not stop the sweating from pouring out of my body. But I am gonna say this. I am gonna say that this is the end of this live stream. If there are any questions, post them down there and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I really will. I'm not able to do any live weekly evaluation, like when I sit down and go through my week right now. I said that in the beginning of the video because I was confused right then and there. I have to actually make some work calls and get down to some working. Am I falling apart or what? But maybe for next week. Yeah, I totally lost it at the end here, but that's alright. I failed and I'm gonna learn from this experience. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and as I said, any questions, post them down there in the description. Make sure to drop by on Sunday for next week's challenge. It is gonna contain the last pillar of the 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, but I'll tell you all the details about that on Sunday. My name is